the Indus Civilization script is deciphered. Listener friends, tonight I speak to you about India's first writing system or script called the Indus Civilization script. It is a very important unsolved problem of India's history, despite 35 attempts in 95 years. I propose a new solution to it, as it has yielded to my efforts and is now speaking. The Indus Civilization, 3000 BC to 1300 BC in the north and west of India, was a precociously urban metal-using culture spread over a vast area. Presently, its 2,700 plus sites are with numerous settlements are known. Despite 35 attempts in 95 years, the script system maintained a stony silence, challenging human intellect to try and unravel its contents, and the use the script was put to, the signs and their structure. All these baffled the disciple. How did this happen? Early in the history of the problem, the excavator John Marshall declared the Indus Civilization to be of pre-Aryan and probably of Proto-Dravidian origin. This surmise was unproved, unsupported, and unstudied flight of fancy and imagination. The first two scholars to study the script, namely Sidney Smith and C.J. Gagg, in the same volume opined the language to be Indo-Aryan. Since then, every decipherer decided the script with either of these languages and took it further away from decoding. Presently, it is being thought to be an insoluble problem, and aids like the bilinguals are being looked for probably in vain. Even then, even these are unlikely to help in decipherment. But recently, I have published a book entitled Unsealing the Indus Script, Anatomy of its Decipherment, New Delhi, Atlantic Books, 2009, which offers a sustainable solution to this problem and is consistent, rational, scientific, and without any further problems. As per my findings, the short inscriptions carved on soapstone or statite seals, graffiti on terracotta, metal pieces, etc., are administrative accounts kept by the sovereign government, and speak of items stored, received, handed out, rationed, weighed, numbered, counted, etc. How did I do this? How did I come to this conclusion? The first important thing I did was the change of general focus. Like the other decipherers, I too wasted three years and more to find the language, but nothing happened. Then it struck me that language is not the real data of the script. The real data furnished by the script are the signs, 576 plus in number, and as they should be speaking and telling us either their sounds or their meanings. So when the focus shifted from language to graphs or signs, the whole range of questions to be asked also changed. The most important question was, how did the graphs originate? From where did they come? One interesting experience I had at about this time was about the fish signs. When looking at them, they were in their natural shapes and could not mean anything else. So in 1996, I isolated the fish signs, 10 in number, and especially I began with the arrowheaded shark. I looked in the fish books and found that the hammer-headed or arrow-headed shark was in its original shape, and the sign depicts exactly the fish species. In the same way, all other fish signs were identified with their real-life originals. In this manner, I identified 450 plus signs with their iconic originals, either in their natural form or in the case of implements of the Harappans in the archaeological data. This was a great achievement. These graphs identified the original items or commodities and also authenticated them. Through these, their correct meanings came to be known, and thus the script began to speak through meanings which was good enough. The signs came to be known as logographic or meaning-oriented, and the hunt for language was abundant. All the time existing, all the then existing scripts, namely Egyptian hieroglyphic and Mesopotamian pictographic, were logographic. It is no wonder that the new script created in 3000 or 2900 BC was logographic too. Having identified 450 plus signs with their iconic originals, the application of meaning to the individual inscriptions was undertaken, and I translated 350 such inscriptions. It was found that the meanings fixed are applicable to all the inscriptions. They yield their meaning rationally and consistently, and speak in general of the transactions of storing or receiving, handing out, rationing, weighing, counting, etc. The type of such transactions are was indicated by the terminal or last sign which performed the function of action taken. These terminal signs were the constants, that is, they occurred in all strata and did not change, whereas the commodity signs increased, decreased, were omitted, and were thus subjected to changes and are therefore called variables. However, the shapes and meanings of both the types of signs are the same all through the inscriptions, and are said to be universal by me. This is one of the criterion of correct decoding, that their meaning remains unchanged in all contexts. Not all the signs were used always in all strata. The method of deciphering the inscription is demonstrated through 350 inscriptions, which is the same, namely the substitution of the meanings in place of the signs. What emerges is a simple rational sentence, and leads us to a definite conclusion that these are the accounts of commodities kept by the Indus administration, which were economically important for the barter system they practiced. This realization makes one say that, within quote, "This is it," unquote. That this was the aim of these inscriptions, and was important as it pertained to economy. The ultimate objective of the system, namely keeping accounts, is satisfied. The Indus inscriptions were the economic documents kept between 3000 BC to 1300 BC. Finally, with the above findings, the Indus script is deciphered. It is logographic, that is, meaning-oriented system, but with a definite structure, and probably it speaks much more than its